Psycho killer. The film starts on a highway as State Trooper Mike Archer pulls over a mysterious man. As Mike goes to take down the man's info, Mike's wife Jane, a fellow state trooper, pulls over. They banter for a bit before Mike returns to the other driver. Jane watches as the man shoots Mike in the neck and drives off. Jane shoots at the car but only hits the back windshield. She calls for help, but Mike dies. The man is reported on the news to be a serial killer known as the Satanic Slasher, after claiming the lives of over 15 people and leaving demonic symbols written in blood at the crime scenes. Jane becomes depressed over Mike's death and is cared for by her father. The slasher corners a couple whose car breaks down. He bludgeons the boyfriend with a sledgehammer before the girlfriend runs out of the car. She tries to flag down a truck for help, but the driver brakes too hard and flips the truck over, crushing the woman before it explodes. The slasher then draws more symbols on the couple's car. As the body count grows, Jane does more research into the slasher's background. She learns that he may have been inspired by a murderous preacher named Richard Joshua Reeves, who committed a mass murder of people in his congregation. He was seemingly killed in prison after attacking a guard, but was infamous enough to inspire a satanic heavy metal band to make music about him. Jane also learns she is pregnant with Mike's baby. Jane goes to the FBI office to try and shadow Agent Zolan while he works the slasher case, but he declines to allow her to join. Jane is later contacted by Agent Becky Collins, who is sympathetic to Jane's situation and gives her the info she has on the slasher. He broke into a pharmacy and killed an employee before taking a ton of drugs like OxyContin, and also killed a gun store owner before taking a huge cache of guns and explosives. The slasher stops at a church for confession. He kills the priest in the booth with a pipe and then drinks his blood through it. He later puts out an ad in the paper with specific coding. Jane tracks the slasher down to a motel where he checked in. She enters his room after telling the manager about the killer, but the slasher corners her and attacks. Jane manages to fight him off but gets thrown out the window, giving the slasher time to escape before police and medics arrive. Jane finds the ad and decodes the slasher's message. The ad is answered by a Satanist named Marvin, who invites the slasher to the location of a cult run by Satanist leader Mr. Pendleton. The slasher arrives at Pendleton's residence and identifies himself as Richard. He sits with Pendleton and his followers, though he seems uninterested in Pendleton's hedonism. The slasher then gives Marvin vague instructions to find somebody for him. Jane looks into Reeves's church, thinking the slasher might be there. She sees a spray painting of something written as 3MI, which is revealed to be 3 Mile Island, the site of a nuclear disaster in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Marvin gives the slasher the name and address of a man in Harrisburg, Leonard Wilkes. When Marvin realizes who Richard really is, the slasher allows him to flee because he views him as different from the other Satanists. He proceeds to enter Pendleton's mansion with an axe and murder all the cult people because they all are involved in disgusting activities. Jane managed to track him down, but the slasher rams his car into hers and causes her to get stuck in a ditch as he gets away. When authorities arrive, she berates them for letting the slasher get away, but she knows where he's headed next. The slasher later contacts Jane and claims he's flattered she's following him and invites her to see what he's going to do. The slasher tracks Leonard down and forces him to drive to 3 Mile Island after taking his wife hostage. Jane travels to Harrisburg after determining the slasher's ultimate goal, a suicide mission to open the gates of hell by obliterating the plant and destroying most of the East Coast to appease Satan. He locks himself and Leonard in the control room and forces Leonard to bring the temperatures to the level he needs them at before the slasher kills him. Jane is led by another guard to a window looking into the control room, but the slasher is preparing to use a grenade to detonate the TNT he's strapped to so he can accomplish his goal. Jane shoots through the glass enough to make a hole, putting her rifle through it and using it to shoot the grenade out of the slasher's hand, and then putting a bullet in him to take him down. In the aftermath, the plan is saved, but the slasher's survival is debated. Jane is now more far along in her pregnancy, but she is left traumatized and paranoid by the ordeal. The final scene shows that the slasher survived and is being taken back to a prison in Death Valley. A guard identifies him as Reeves and welcomes him back.